Open world games. Fuck them!
My opinion on open world games is kind of mixed. I like them because they're a joy to explore. Finding various secrets in such a large sandbox is a real achievement and makes me feel super satisfied with myself. On the other hand, the plethora of side quests and missions can give me a bit of anxiety. I never know where to start.
Too much to do can be an overwhelming thing, especially in games like The Witcher 3.
But there have been some open world games that I couldn't put down. Fallout and Elder Scrolls are two of the greatest open world games in my opinion. But then here comes along not only a new open world game, but a completely new IP from the studio that brought us... Killzone? Really? Killzone Shadowfall is the only game in the series that I have any experience with. It was my first PS4 game, and I didn't really get the feeling of a sprawling open world, but what I did feel was this exciting combat. When Horizon Zero Dawn was in development, I saw some gameplay trailers that made me really interested. I pre-ordered the game, but had to cancel due to some other games and purchases that came up. I later found it for a really good deal. So was I hyped for nothing? Let's find out with the first...
Pro!
Wait, what is this? I don't own a PS4 Pro, nor do I own a 4K TV. How the fuck do you look so good, game? Like, seriously, do you see this world? Do you see every individual flower and blade of grass and tree and... This world is such a joy to explore, trying to find hints as to what happened. How did the machines come to be like this? I just love exploring, finding old buildings that are just decaying with wildlife all around it. Finding the hidden cauldrons and bunkers, sometimes I found myself just ignoring not only the story, but the side quests too. I just love how fleshed out this whole universe is. The fact that the machines are the hunt and everybody either fears or holds disdain for anything mechanical. By having the hunters and warriors use crude spears and bows while also utilizing some minor mechanical parts for the weapons really makes the world feel like history repeating. The whole tribal stylization of the game really works well for the atmosphere. And the combat system. When I first saw gameplay of this during E3, I was really interested by how you can take down these massive mechanical beasts. Having some time to fiddle around with the game extensively, I can say that the combat is incredibly simplistic and easy to comprehend. It's using it wisely and effectively that you'll need to master. Con! As beautiful as this game is, and as incredibly impressive as it may be, sometimes I just get lost in the visuals. And I don't mean in the... Okay, everybody, stop everything. I need to climb to the highest vantage point to slowly turn the camera around and look at the horizon. Zero Dawn. No, I find that sometimes the trees, grass, and so on can blend in with each other. There have been times where I've lost track of my positioning as well as the machines I'm fighting. This can lead to a missed attack or even death. This is especially apparent when I'm aiming to kill some wildlife and I can't seem to hit the goddamn fox because there's a goddamn hill in my goddamn way. This is one thing that can sometimes take me out of a game, which is surprising with how beautiful everything looks. It's a weird con. To say that a game is so graphically advanced that I feel taken out of the experience from time to time feels weird, but it actually happens. Maybe I need a bigger TV, or this looks better in actual 4K, but I shouldn't have to do that. Every other game looks fine when I play it on this TV, so why am I having an issue with Horizon? It seems weird to me to have a game that you can literally get lost in. I know, this con is weird. Let's move on.
Pro!
One of the things that caught my interest in this game was the idea of a strong female lead, and this is an actual factual strong female lead in all senses of the idea. Most companies seem to think that by making their female characters physically strong, they've therefore made a strong female character. But there are more facets of the idea that I might touch on in a future episode of Disgusted. But she's more than just physically strong. She's smart, she's confident, assertive, direct, and adventurous among many other characters. Aloy, more like Baloy, am I right? She's such an endearing character. She wants to help, but at the same time, she doesn't give a fuck what anybody thinks. She's not a blank face or someone who's made so that anybody can put themselves in her shoes. She feels like an actual person, absolutely unique. Not an open book like a lot of other RPG characters. This isn't a story to put yourself into, it's a story to experience. Finding out what happened to this world is incredibly interesting. I feel like I want to get lost in this world. Everything is connected, even down to the most minute details. That's an exceptional feat to have your world so thought out. Even the smallest side characters give the player a deeper knowledge into the clans and their ideals and beliefs. Every moment that the machines are mentioned, you gain more knowledge about how and why they act the way they do, where they come from, and why. It's so gripping to keep exploring and chatting with the locals. Each side quest just solidifies the amazing story and only makes me want to keep adventuring. Con! I know I raved about the story, but to be honest, a lot of the NPCs seem like dicks. I know the majority of these characters are religious and believe that they will die or be outcasted if they don't act this way, but they don't have to be downright shitmouths to get that across. I can understand stubbornness or the odd character being very bigoted. You're going to get those kind of peoples in any society, but the whole world shouldn't be filled with these kinds of people. You could have some characters who still believe strongly in the old ways, but still be kind to Aloy, while others reject the ways that they were brought up with, and really rally behind Aloy and her journey. Again, you do have some of these characters, but not to the extent that the fuckface category fills. Most characters say they can't talk to you, even once Aloy becomes a seeker. A person who's been blessed to travel the land wherever she needs to go, still don't like to talk to her. I feel like it's pushing prejudice a little too much and there's not much diversity. Almost like it was meant to have a harsher feeling towards Aloy, but it kind of feels shoehorned in, like they had a bunch of positive NPCs, but decided the world wasn't opposing enough, so they made 80% of the NPCs entire cock for brains. Almost like when a film or show has an all-white cast and the director realizes there's no diversity on set, so they cram a bunch of unneeded characters to attempt to even it out when it stands out like a sore thumb. We see it, you see it, and you're just standing there in the center of the room with your pants at your ankles. Nice boxers, though.
Pro!
I've mentioned little things as pros or cons in my Dynasty Warriors reviews because they were minor improvements or setbacks from the predecessor. But I have to mention a few things here because I found they really helped immerse me in this world. First of all, every little thing you find in this world makes sense. From the materials to build your equipment, to the random knickknacks that you find to sell to merchants. I mean, it sometimes doesn't make sense why you need fish bones to carry more armor, but I digress. Sometimes you'll find watches or keys, and since you don't know what they are, they're just artifacts. These things are just like jewelry or luxurious items. So their only use is to sell. What is the currency, you may ask? Metal shards. You collect these from scrap heaps and the machines that you take down. But not only is it used to buy and sell items, but they are also the most integral material in crafting. These people's armor, weapons, arrows, and pretty well every other piece of equipment is made out of metal shards. Could you imagine going into work wearing a literal suit of dollar bills? Actually, that'd be pretty cool. Especially with the colorful Canadian money we have. Speaking of your equipment, let's talk about the variety that is at your disposal in this game. There are a good deal of armors that you can equip Aloy with, each having its own benefit and looks. I also feel like these looks also complement said benefits. The fire-resistant clothing looks like something Aloy would wear during a blaze. The freeze-resistant clothing looks like something she'd wear when it's really cold. The corruption-resistant clothing has this cult vibe to it, and the combat-centric armor has metal plates all over it. There are also stages to these outfits, meaning you can dress up Queen Aloy however you want to while still being practical. And what about the weapons? Well, we've got you covered. You can equip up to 4 weapons at a time, but there are definitely more than that. Each weapon controls differently and uses different ammunition. You have your basic bow with various styles of arrows, then you have almost a sniper bow with better accuracy. An arm bow that fires 2 bolts with a wire attaching them that explodes when enemies break the wire. There are so many ways you can take down enemies. I've experimented with weapons against various machines and some are definitely more effective than others. It's really fun to figure out the best combination of weapons too. Like, do you want to set up tripwire traps then bombard them with your slingshot? Or do you want to snag off some armor pieces with your regular bow? You have so many options. Con! Okay. Gotta think of a con. Gotta think of a third con. Fuck. I'm stumped. Wait a minute. That's it! That's the worst thing of all. Man, seriously. Fuck this game! The absolute worst thing about Horizon Zero Dawn is that I can't come up with a third con. I'm being absolutely honest. I played this game for weeks straight trying to find a third con for this game, but I couldn't. It was a struggle just to think up the last 2 things, and honestly, that pisses me off. I made this format of the show to have 3 pros and 3 cons. Who the hell does this game think it is to be so fucking good that I can't come up with a third con? I mean, seriously, did this game break my show? It's not fair. There should be something wrong with this game. Let's be honest, Horizon Zero Dawn is an incredible game. If you haven't played it yet, I highly recommend you get it. But how highly though? Well, we're getting there. Hold your horses. I believe Aloy is probably one of the best characters to be introduced this generation. I probably haven't been this interested in a character since the PS2 days, and the story is so gripping, thanks to the world being so fleshed out. When you jump into the story, you would better be prepared to drown. On top of all of the minor things that seal up the little holes in this game to help make it one of the best stories I've experienced and the best gameplay I've experienced in a long time, I did not want to be an adult. I wanted to be a kid again and have the time to game for 7 hours in a day. I didn't want to do my dishes or the laundry. I didn't want to go grocery shopping. Ugh, adult things. all I wanted to do was experience everything else this game had to offer. Even the cons I brought up were so minor that I actually had to stretch myself just to think of them. In all honesty, I'm not counting them because even though they kind of bugged me, it was only initially when I experienced these things, then instantly got used to it. With these minor issues that I will say do not need to be fixed, I give Horizon Zero Dawn a 10 out of 10. Now I hear you saying, but Chris, isn't perfection an absolutely unattainable thing? Aren't we all human and flawed, and therefore making our creations inherently flawed? And to you I say, deep, bro, deep. But the fact of the matter is that this game may have its flaws, but they are not apparent in any way. When you look at this game on a surface level, and when you dive deep into the narrative, the characters, the combat mechanics, and every insignificant detail, you come out with a game that is so good, any flaws that you thought of wash away. Horizon Zero Dawn is set to be my game of the year for 2017. I haven't played too many other games like Persona, Breath of the Wild, or even the 5th iteration of Skyrim, but what Horizon has shown me has given me a feeling of completion. Like I've found that one game that I needed to this year. If Dynasty Warriors 9 gets delayed until 2018, I can confidently say that I won't mind it, because I've got enough games to keep me entertained, and Horizon will be one of those games that I continue to play until I find my next 10 out of 10. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know down in the comments what your game of the year is. Check out the links on screen, and I'll see you all down in the comments.